Is anything ever free? Well, according to Craigslist, yes, free on Craigslist. I recently had a friend go missing. Of course, we contacted the police. They said they couldn't do anything until at least 72 hours had passed. They didn't say what they would do after 72 hours had passed. And I'm not sure why 72 is such an important number in the police community. They seem to like it, though. I myself, well, I like the number 47. There's always been something about that number. I guess if I were involved in law enforcement, 72 might not be as important as it once was. But I'm not involved in law enforcement. Anyhow, those of us who were close to 24, that's what we call him. That's what we called him then, now, at that moment. Because he'd been missing for 24 hours. So we called him 24. After lunch that day, he was known as 25. But the fact remains, at that moment in time, 24 had been missing for, well, you can probably guess. So, those of us caring friends went into 24's house and we did a search of his computer. Nothing's ever free. He had been shopping on Craigslist in the freeze section. And the last entry we found was a listing for a putter. We didn't even know that he putted. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. Now, this particular putter had once been owned by Betsy Ross. Oh. Came as a shock to us. All of us. Didn't she just make flags? Did they even have golf balls back then? And how long does it take to get to the golf course in a horse-drawn wagon? Didn't make a lot of sense to us. So we found the pad where apparently he had scribbled down not an address, but some GPS coordinates, which was strange. Normally you get an address when you go out to buy a putter or something else. Or, that's right, it was free. It was free. It was on the free part of Craigslist. So normally you get an address when you go someplace to get something free. But no. The last thing on the pad. So we took a pencil. Because he had torn off, where he had written the GPS. We took a pencil and we shaded back and forth. We got the GPS coordinates. So now we know where he went to get Betty Ross's putter. So we went there to the place where the supposed giver-awayer, you can't call him a seller, right? Giver-awayer, donator, giver, whatever. of Betsy Ross's putter lived. We followed the GPS machine to the place. Strangely, it was 150 miles out a dirt road in the Southern Californian desert. You'd almost wish you hadn't found the listing for Betty Ross's putter that day. Who knew that the seller of Betty Ross's putter would live in the middle of nowhere? So, as we approached, we began to get suspicious. There was no building, and it was like nothing you've ever seen. Flat, sandy cacti sticking up all over the place. It was hot. No building. There was only a tent. A black tent in the desert in the summer. Who has a black tent in the summer? Doesn't make sense. Everybody knows we're white in the summer. Get less hot. But no. Here we are. Where the guy's giving away the Betsy Ross putter. 150 miles out of dirt road into the Southern Californian desert. And there's a black tent. And beside the black tent was a large brick oven that was putting out smoke. It's just smoke. It was putting out enough smoke to make its own smog. Yeah, you're out here 150 miles from the nearest civilization. You would think the air would be clear, but no. Whatever was going on in that large brick oven was creating its own EPA abusing smog system. We could almost, we could barely see the sun. The sun was camouflaged behind the clouds of smoke that were coming out of the large brick oven next to the black tent. And then, of course, that caught our attention. But then we all realized, look over there. Behind the black tent, there were rows and rows and rows of almost brand new cars. Many with bumper stickers that claimed membership to various golf country clubs. So was this a coincidence? Did a whole bunch of guys belonging to country clubs just show up out here? And maybe they're off in the far distance playing golf or something. Maybe not. We did not find anyone in the black tent. And we saw no sign of our friend 27. It had been about 3 hours to get out this dirt road. So now he's 27. The weirdest thing that got our attention was there was a small patch of green grass. Imagine if you laid down and stretched out your arms and legs and then rotated in a circle. There was a circular patch of green grass about the size of a human who would lay down. And the green grass was well manicured, very green, cut short, looked like a putting surface. And there was a hole right in the middle. And the strangest thing was that idling beside the round patch of green grass was a gas-powered golf cart that was running. Quiet, wasn't very loud. Not as quiet as an electric gas cart, but it was pretty quiet. And sitting on the passenger seat of that golf cart was a hot dog that had a lot of mustard on it and a Coors Light. And there was nothing else except for on the left side of the golf cart, there was one shoe lying on the ground, dipped upside down. And that's it. 27 is now some other number. But we'll never forget that experience. I'll never forget the one shoe. Green patch of grass in the middle of nowhere, 150 miles out, a dirt road, rows and rows of brand new cars, almost brand new. Huh? Have any ideas what happened out there?